Privilege.
Delegate Carter, you have the floor.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I've always been emotional when I speak into this mic. This is no exception. But every time I've risen in this chamber, every time I have raised my voice in a committee meeting, it has been with a singular focus: to make life better for the people that I come from, for the working class of this Commonwealth, of this nation, and of this world. Every decision I have made has been centered around what is best for the teacher, the truck driver, the garbage collector, the campesino farmer in Mexico, you name it. For the person who is working for a living just to keep a roof over their head. Because that person, Madam Speaker, is and always has been me. By all accounts, I should have never been here. I'm not the kind of guy that ends up in this room. I'm a Coast Guard kid from North Carolina. Some would say white trash. Twice in my life, I've lived in a single wide trailer, and I probably will again. There's no shame in that. Thousands of your constituents, each and every one of you, thousands of your constituents live the way that I have lived and the way that I will live again when my time in this chamber is done next year. For the last 4 years, I've been the only socialist elected to any Southern legislature. And when I leave, that number will go back down to 0, as it was for the 100 years before I got here. But the movement for socialism is the movement to liberate people like me, people who are struggling to pay the bills, people who are working every single day of their lives to make someone else richer so that they can stay alive. Now, Madam Speaker, I'm not here for self-hagiography. I am here speaking into this microphone for the final time to deliver a message to the working people of this Commonwealth. A message that is not my own. Comes from a great hero of mine, Eugene Victor Debs. Now, Eugene Debs was born in 1855 in Terre Haute, Indiana. He was a union organizer, working on the railroads. He ran for president 4 times. The 4th time he ran for president, he did so from prison. He was incarcerated for opposing the draft in World War I. In fact, he was incarcerated for this very speech that I'm quoting right now, that he gave in Canton, Ohio. And he said to the workers that he was addressing in Canton, Ohio, "There is but one thing you have to be concerned about, and that is that you keep foursquare with the principles of the socialist movement. It is only when you begin to compromise that trouble begins. So far as I'm concerned, it does not matter what others may say or think or do, as long as I am sure that I am right with myself and with my cause. There are so many who seek refuge in the popular side of a great question. But as a socialist, I have long since learned how to stand alone." He also said, "For myself, I've never had much faith in leaders. I'm willing to be charged with almost anything rather than with being a leader. I'm suspicious of leaders, especially of the intellectual variety. Give me the rank and file every day of the week. If you go to the city of Washington and you examine the pages of the Congressional Directory, you will find that almost all of those corporate lawyers and politicians, members of Congress, and misrepresentatives of the masses, you will find that almost all of them claim, in glowing terms, that they have risen from the ranks to places of eminence and distinction. I'm very glad that I cannot make that claim for myself. I would be ashamed to admit that I had risen from the ranks, for when I rise, it will be with the ranks, not from them. Madam Speaker, ladies and gentlemen of the House, and to everyone listening throughout this Commonwealth, throughout this country, and maybe throughout the world, know this: the cause of liberation for working people did not begin when I got here. It will not end when I leave. That cause will continue until everyone knows that they can live and work and not have to worry about how they're going to put food on the table, not have to worry about how they're going to make the rent, not have to worry about whether or not they can afford to see a doctor or put their kids through school, and not have to worry about whether they're going to be discriminated against based on who they are, who they love, or who they were born to be. And that's something that I've said probably thousands of times over the last 4 years, but it rings true every day. It rings true today as I'm saying it here. It will ring true tomorrow, whether I'm saying it into this microphone or not. So I would advise each of you in this room, remember how your actions affect the least of us, the most vulnerable, the people who, frankly, a lot of them are too busy to even watch what you're doing because they're too busy trying to keep a roof over their head or too busy trying to put food in their kids' mouths. But remember them, because there will be a day when everyone has what they need. And on that day, the working class of this country and this Commonwealth will remember how your actions affected them. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you, Delegate Carter. You have made a difference and you will continue to make a difference. Does any member have any